Bridge either when it comes to the golf course. Ab, can you turn it down?
Good evening, everybody. Everybody's here. Yes, it looks like we are. Very good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, February 10th, 2021 Orange Board of Selectmen meeting, Zoom meeting. In accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order 7B regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be held remotely with no in-person attendance. The meeting will still be broadcast live on OGAT, Optimum Channel 79, and Frontier Channel 6063, and streamed on YouTube and OGAT also. Any comments for public participation or an agenda item must be submitted by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, February 10th, 2021 to jzoli@orange-ct.gov. Thank you. With that said, I'd like to recognize each of the selectmen. If you would, everybody can see everybody, so raise your hands one at a time and say good evening out there. Let's start.
Good evening. Hi, it's Margaret Novicki.
Good evening. Next.
Hi, Judy Williams, welcome.
Good evening, Mitch Goldblatt.
Good evening, Ralph Oakenquist.
Good evening, John Carangelo.
Thank you. And we are all here by way of Zoom from our independent locations. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time. Public participation. Public participation is limited to 2 minutes per speaker on any item that is not an agenda item, being that there is no, hi Mike, being that there is no public audience at this. Do any of you have any public participation items or announcement items that you would like to say?
Jim?
Yes, Mitchell.
So we did, or you did, receive a letter from Anna Mann.
I gotta read. I'm gonna read it into the record.
Okay. Do you want to make sure that was part of public participation?
Yep.
Also, with public participation, I just wondered if you wanted to add anything into the record since the special meeting, the special town meeting, if there's been other things that have come up concerning Racebrook Country Club, its purchase, some of the information that's been put out there, whether there's anything that you feel should be, just added to the record, to the record, because this is our last meeting before the referendum.
I have a few things. If any of you feel that you have something that might have been missed at that Zoom town meeting the other night, this is your opportunity. If you would like to add something or correct something, this is your opportunity. Just raise your hand so we know, we can all see each other so that we know who wants to jump in. Nobody? Okay. All right, we have a few things. For announcement, I'll do my announcements first, and I do have 2 letters to read into the record for tonight also. This is kind of important. It goes with the referendum. Monday, February 15th, 2021, all town offices will be closed for President's Day, but the transfer station is open. And with that, today is Wednesday, so you have Thursday or Friday. If you wish to submit an absentee ballot, you must come into the clerk's office to do it, to vote on the referendum for the Racebrook Country Club question that is going to referendum on Tuesday, the 16th. We are closed on Monday, and you cannot vote by absentee on Tuesday when the polls are open. So anybody who would like to take the opportunity to vote that is not available on Tuesday, the 16th, you can vote Thursday or Friday in the town clerk's office with an absentee ballot, but we will be closed on Monday, the 15th for President's Day. COVID-19 vaccines. The OVNA ran their 3rd clinic today, as a matter of fact. Things are going well. They are looking for some more clinician volunteers that can help administer shots, but it is going very well, and they are opening it up to the VAM system so that we will be a designated location so that people beyond the boundaries of Orange can also get their COVID-19 vaccination shots here. However, I urge Orange residents to get on the VAM site and attempt to register for the Orange site. High Plains Community Center is the primary for us. If you can't get on there, we do have Yale West Campus, which is also in Orange, where they're administering shots. But today was the third day of clinic at High Plains Community Center, and it
Tomorrow.
no, they had it today,
Okay.
I believe. And it went very well. But we are looking for some volunteer clinicians that are approved to give vaccination shots. They let me know that today. If we can have some people out there, you can contact the Selectmen's office, or you can contact the OVNA office, Terry Waldron at the Orange Visiting Nurse Board. Either one of those, we'd be grateful for that. The referendum for the opportunity for Racebrook Country Club, which we held our town meeting on last week, is Tuesday, February 16th at High Plains Community Center. And it is from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And at 8 p.m., the doors will be closed and the tally will be taken at that time. I thank you for those few announcements that we have for this month, which is a good thing. Mitchell, we did create one problem by doing that. Usually they set up this room the night before, but we're closed on Monday. We didn't think of that. So they're setting it up on Friday and then locking the doors. It'll be fine. Yeah. Okay. I have two letters here. The first one is written by Anna Mann, and it has to do with the Amity school system and the budgeting coming forward for the Amity school system. And then she requested it be read into the record. Dear members of the Orange Board of Selectmen and Orange Board of Finance Committees, my name is Anna Mann. I have owned my home in Orange with my husband, Sean, since August of '99. I have two children who have grown up in this town and are currently students in the award-winning Amity Regional School District. As many of you know, Sean and I have both been educators at Amity Regional High School for more than 20 years, and I currently serve as the principal of the high school. I have also been a faithful and loyal citizen of this town and have deep connections to the community. It has pained me year after year to silently witness the way in which the Orange Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen have interfaced with the Amity Regional School District and Amity Board of Education when it comes to budget discussions and proposals. I lived through the turmoil of 2002, 17 failed referendums due to issue and threats of young teachers like myself at the time of losing jobs due to reductions in force. That was a traumatizing time. The district learned a great deal, as did the Amity Board of Education members. From that experience, and as any intentional lifelong learner should, have grown from that experience to be fiscally sound while maintaining exceptional services. However, we are re-traumatized every year when members of the Board of Finance make Amity budget presentations insisting and insinuating that Amity is somehow operating fiscally irresponsible. This could not be further from the truth. One of the unique and wonderful aspects of the Amity system is the loyalty of the educators, custodians, administrative assistants, paraeducators, teachers, and administrators stay in the Amity district, lower wages than other comparable Connecticut public school districts because the community values education. We have collaborative relationships with parents. We are privileged to work with talented, respectful, dedicated students. It is because of them that we stay. One of the adages I like to use with my faculty, staff, and students is that we are famity. We stick together through thick and thin. We do not always agree with one another, but we support each other and we unfailingly support our students because we believe in our mission. Ours is the most important and impactful career in the world. By continuing to demoralize and undermine the Amity faculty and staff with irresponsible and offensive budgetary suggestions, you are dismantling the school district that you rely on for the future of our community. As I watched the Orange Board of Finance meeting from January 25th, I could not believe what I was hearing. Board members who do not have any formal training in educational programming, let alone regional school district administration or finance, made arbitrary suggestions of a 0.47 increase for the Amity 2021-2022 budget. I respectfully request to know the pedagogical and educational basis for that number. In addition, members of the board bemoaned an Amity budget increase because of the undue burden it would put on taxpayers. Shockingly, during the same meeting, this very board voted to support the proposal of the $10 million purchase of the Racebrook Country Club by the town of Orange. This letter is not a commentary regarding the February 16th referendum for the proposed Racebrook Country Club purchase. However, I am shocked at the discontinuity of the Board of Finance discussions and proposals. It was stated at the January 12th, 25th meeting that the citizens of the town of Orange should not be asked to support an increased Amity budget, yet you have no qualms about asking us to spend $10 million on a country club that will remain private and out of reach financially for many of the citizens of Orange in terms of access or use. I have dedicated my professional life to ensuring your children's educational experience is the most fulfilling, relevant, meaningful it can be. The only way for this to remain so is to fund the programming, people, and system. Amity Regional School District is not private. We offer a stellar public education to all students in our community. I can no longer sit silently by and watch as you denigrate the work of my colleagues and take for granted the success of my students with arbitrary and undermining proposals for an Amity budget increase. If you are looking to invest in the future, you need to reflect on where your priorities lie. Perhaps you will agree with investing in people that will pay dividends. And a man. Okay, This letter is from Mary Shaw, Muirfield Road, Orange. This one regards Racebrook Country Club. On Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, Orange residents will have the opportunity to support the proposed acquisition of Racebrook Country Club. Unlike open space land purchases in the past, this is considered a forward-thinking business investment which would return revenue to the town via a lease agreement with Racebrook Country Club over the next 40 years. Above all, and most importantly, it will give our town 100% control of almost 300 meticulous kept acres of land purchased at a bargain price. Our elected officials continue to make open space a priority for our town, which is commendable. In doing so, it supports one of the many reasons why residents choose to live in Orange. They desire a lifestyle in a small, picturesque New England town that is blessed with an outstanding school system. They also recognize the value of all the wonderful amenities that make 06477 a fabulous place to call home. The Board of Selectmen unanimously supports this purchase, which speaks volumes on the magnitude of possible implications and the negative consequences on the future of our town if we don't act accordingly. I would like to share a thought I believe residents can relate to and find relevant to the matter at hand. Over the past year, every one of us has learned to live our lives with a tremendous amount of uncertainty, and the impact has been both difficult and challenging. It would be fair to say we all yearn for the day we gain back our sense of control and are able to optimistically look forward to the future. Voting yes for the purchase of Racebrook Country Club will allow just that. Our town will secure full control of all future decisions regarding this property and proactively circumvent the feeling of uncertainty that would inevitably be brought upon us and generations to follow for many years to come. In closing, I would like to thank our Board of Selectmen and the owners of Racebrook Country Club for working together to formulate a proposal our residents won't regret supporting on February 16th, 2021. Thank you, Mary Shaw, Muirfield Road. Okay, as Mitch said, there's still much confusion out there. We've tried to answer as many people's questions and thoughts and comments as possible, but as late as today, we still received commentary that did not understand all the facts. One person thought that we were paying them $8.5 million and they were going to be using this money to operate, and they say it won't last them the next 5 years. Well, that $8.5 million isn't going to last them 30 days, because that money is what's going to rid them of mortgage to Ion Bank, a mortgage to Newtown Savings Bank, and to the IRS for their capital gains part that goes with that. It's all been calculated and formulated, and that's the number. That's how that number was arrived at. For those of you out there that say, well, this won't happen, they won't develop it. Well, I'm going to try to you won't be able to see it from there, but I want people to know that it really does exist. This is how we found out that they were doing something. This is their first proposed subdivision piece, the lots that bound Racebrook Road, Shepherd Lane, Lambert Road, Orange Center Road, and Route 34. So if you think that that is a hoax, it is not either. They are being forced by their banks to act, and the act they will. For some of you that are concerned with other golf institutions here in town that, as we all are, and how it will affect those other facilities. Many of the questions are asking, well, why can't we play there? Why can't we play there for a discounted rate? We should be able to play there whenever we wanted. Well, the Board of Selectmen were very aware of that and concerned about that when we were having these discussions behind closed doors, because of those two other golf facilities are also longtime residents in our community and operate businesses in our community. And we wish to continue that they all continue to prosper and thrive in our community. Unfortunately, there has been some commentary out there that if we do this, we will affect the other facilities. I'm not convinced of that, but that's what people believe. But if you believe by not buying this 287 acres and improvements, that it will allow the other facilities to thrive better, possibly, that's not the case. If one is struggling due to whether it's pay to play or membership to play or anything along that line, we're concerned with all three of them. And since others have cited that it's a industry that has struggled over the past years, that means all three have struggled, not just one or two or three, all three. So we do have concerns, which was part of the reason why we entered this the way we were. There is possibility, since we are buying the property and not the business, and it has been discussed with Racebrook, there were potential days that would be designated as open play days where pay to play, or the opportunity to pay as you go at any time. But that would be Racebrook's decision, not ours. We have made the suggestions, we have made the requests, but that's it. We are not owning the business. So I think those were some of the concerns that have come up the most lately. And this, my last and final thing, when the Turkey Hill Preserve area, which is 376 acres, I believe, was being proposed for a 252 unit development there with roadways that were over 2 miles in length from Turkey Hill Road to Yellow Brick Road, the world came out in droves, and the town ended up paying roughly, in round numbers, $7.5 million for that piece of property. Well, you could be facing the same situation at Racebrook down the road. But if you purchase it, you do control that. If you wish to gamble and see what happens, so be it. The residents will have that opportunity on February 16th. We have shown a strong and constant belief in preservation of space in this town. This would be the first property purchase where you get money back. The asset you're gaining is the property and improvements, not the dollar amount. It's a refunding of what you're expending over a period of time, but the asset you are gaining would be the part that is the benefit to the community. This is not a benefit for just James Zioli, as people have said, James Zioli, Jim Zioli, he's doing this, he's doing that. There's letters to the editor. Jim Zioli did this. Jim Zioli has no children, grandchildren, nieces or nephews or anybody in this town. It's a consideration for the residents of the town that the Board of Selectmen felt strongly about to put forward to you, the residents, to consider on Tuesday, February 16th. I stand by that. This is for the long term. Even if that lease were carried out to fulfillment of 40 years, I will be 101 years old. I can tell you where I'll be, but not sitting here, probably right down the street. So I ask you all to go out and consider all that I've said. I hope that it has helped you in your thoughts. The last thing I just remembered, many may have missed the town meeting. It was calculated by the finance director. If you have a home that's estimated value is $360,000, we won't know exactly till the bonds sell, but a $360,000 home, the tax impact would be about $52 a year. If you have a home that's worth about $700,000, the estimated tax impact is about $105 a year. If you have $1 million home, the tax impact would be about $158 a year. Break that down per month. That's a pretty small figure. And I would like to apologize, as a matter of fact, at that town meeting, I used a term that had been floating around, kind of flipped that because of the governor's proposal towards taxing homes over $430,000 value, and they've referred to them in the news repeatedly as McMansions. And I made that statement, and it did offend a couple people. I said it in a way to say many people don't believe that we have many homes in our town worth over $1 million, but there are far more than you think. And my McMansion comment did offend some, so I apologize for that. It was not meant that way. It was just something that I had remembered from the press, and it came out that way. So, but that wasn't appropriate, and I do apologize for that. So I hope that clears it up. Did I miss anything? If any of you would like to jump in one last time before we move on, now is your chance. Yes, Mitch.
Yeah, you did cover a lot of what I wanted you to cover, so thank you very much, because I know there was a lot that's come out in the news and in letters and just in comments. So you've covered a lot of it. Just a couple other things that I think have come up since the last meeting. This is a delicate balance. It really is. People trying to determine what they want and how they want to spend their money. And I understand there's some strong emotions both ways. But as you mentioned about buying the Turkey Hill Preserve, most of that property really can't be seen unless you take a walk. And many of us have and appreciated that property. This property, a lot of it can be seen. You know, preserving the views and vistas as we did in the Housatonic Overlook, as we've done in Wrights Pond, as we've done in other parts of this town, are as important as the actual land to be stepped on by people. So I think that has to be something that be kept in mind. Plus the number of streets you mentioned that this is bordered by. You know, Racebrook Road, Route 34, Shepherd Lane, Lambert Road, Orange Center Road. And I'm probably missing a couple that back up to their backyards.
Hampton Close, Granice Road, Cummings Drive, you know, Ironwood Way. Yeah, there's quite a few more streets around it.
Right. So this is part of the as I mentioned before, the fabric of our community. And I think it's so important that we keep that in mind. One of the things that's come up that we want to make sure we dispel the rumors. We are not. We've learned from Woodbridge. We're not going to be running this golf course. That is not the intent. It was the intent of Woodbridge. It's not our intent. And you know, people I talk to just on outside of Orange tell me this is a home run for the town of Orange. Can't understand why people are against it, because you're preserving the land and having someone maintain it for you. You know, it's similar to buying development rights from a farm, whereby the community would buy the farm and allow the farmer to continue to develop and farm the property. So I mean, there's a lot going for us. I think some people have been very short-sighted about the the dollars because we've bought open space without any remuneration, without anything coming back. And here we've got the land being stewarded as well as, as you mentioned, Jim, refunding on our bond obligation. A couple other things have come out since our last meeting that are I think are very notable, that both the Orange Land Trust and the Conservation Commission have come out in support of this. Now, people may think, well, that's a no-brainer because of course they would. But you know what? I think it's significant. I really do. That those committees, one's private, one's a town committee, have come out strongly enough to make their feelings known in the newspaper by mailing from the land trust that I received. And the last thing is, Jim, I want to ask you a question. There's been some concern about our bonding, our rating. I think it's important you let people know what our rating is, number one. Number two, how the rating agencies look at the town in terms of its open space and how it preserves and controls the development of its town. And I think that's important for people also to understand. And John Cifarelli is on the call as well, so I'm not sure if he wants to chime in, but it's an important aspect of this as well. And also the last part of it is this concern that $8.5 million is going to tap us out for any potential bonding in the future. And I think there's some misconceptions there too that I'd like you to help us clarify. Thank you.
I can, and John, if I'm wrong, correct me when I'm done. Currently, and for most of my time in this office, we have held a AAA bond rating. You cannot get a higher bond rating than that. Last time we went for a bond rating was, I don't know, a year and a half or more ago, and 2 years ago. And I actually asked the lady who was one of the reviewers, I'm like, can't we get a quad? We've had the triple for quite a long while. She didn't think it was that funny, but you know, we are a AAA bond rating. We maintain a AAA bond rating. The rating agencies have seen communities go as high as 15% of budget to bonding. I think currently we are about 4%. John, is that about right? 4.5%.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Of our total comparing to budget, percentage to budget. So we are very low and very conservative in that area. When we've gone through these bond reviews before by the rating agencies, and our conservatism and our retail properties and all, and tax base have shown them time and time again how we have worked hard and improved. Since that last bond rating, we have many new businesses. You have Numa added on over an acre of building onto their manufacturing. They manufacture stuff for the aeronautical industry. Aurora Products, which packages all types of health and trail mix and food products like that. They've put an expansion on their building, probably more than half the size of what existed, and they have another one that they may be coming forward with. The Veterans Administration Outpatient Services building that was put up there. The Eastern Tech, the commercial industrial ink manufacturers, the new FedEx terminal that are up there. These are all things that are new since our last bond rating. So they can only help us more. Since we spoke last, there's a potential buyer. They're under contract for the property at the end of the exit ramp. If you're coming from the Milford direction on your right-hand side where there's the gray industrial buildings there, there's a fence business and a wholesale florist supply there. That property is under contract over there. The property on Salemi Lane that sat kind of in limbo for so long with the train station questions has been sold to another company that's going to be using that site there, where there's 5 small homes that were built by the Salemi brothers over time. So we have a lot going on for us, and the town is solid. It gets very concerning this time of year. The finance director and I had quite a discussion this morning about the budget and where we're headed and what things need to be wrestled with. Anna Mann spoke to part of it, but there's more pieces to it than that. The town side of that budget is the smallest part. The education side is about 66, 67% of the budget. So of course we do have concerns for that, and everybody has their own thoughts, but we have maintained a strong AAA rating, and I anticipate that we will continue to maintain that strong AAA rating. And like I said, we're about 4.5% of budget, and they allow a leeway up to, I would never ever do it, but up to 15% of budget. So I think that, should help people. And that's total budget. That's not just the town side. That includes all three factors: the town side, Orange Board of Education, and Amity Board of Education, all the pieces that we fund in totality. So I hope does that answer you, Mitch? I hope so.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Let me just add one other thing, if I may, Jim.
Sure.
Anybody that wants to see our rating, our S&P rating is up on the finance department webpage on the town website. It's been there. The last time we did it was October 9th, 2019. In the very second page, long-term rating, AAA stable. And long-term rating does it twice, AAA stable affirmed. So anybody, it's 6 pages, very short. Anybody wants to read that could go out there and read it.
So there you go. For those out there watching, you can even look at our bond rating. It is online under the finance department's section in the town website. And it will kind of explain a lot, Mitch, right there. So all set. Let's move on. Minutes.
One last announcement.
Oh, what's that?
2 months from today is shredding day.
Okay.
April 10th, Saturday, April 10th. Bring your documents. High Plains Community Center, 9 to noon. And any mattresses and box springs you have will also be collected at the same time. Orange Recycling Committee, with the help of both the Lions Club on the mattress side and, of course, the Orange Rotary Club, is really helping sponsor this, and we'll be accepting donations, and we thank them both very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks. Okay. Minutes. To consider and act on the minutes of the January 13th, 2021 regular meeting of the Orange Board of Selectmen. Were there any errors, omissions, or corrections? If so, state, page, and paragraph. Judy.
It's minor. On page 2 at the top paragraph where it talks about public participation, the last line goes, Selectman Novicki seconded the statement made by Selectman Goldblatt. To me, it kind of sounds like a motion was made. And I'm just wondering if maybe Selectman Novicki agreed with or supported instead of the word seconded.
Oh, yeah.
I think supported is fine. I think I went a little farther than just supporting Mitch's statement, though. I did make my own statement, but I'm fine with supported.
Yes.
So then maybe Margaret change it to that and say that you were, let's get your credit in there, that you also came forth with a statement.
Yeah.
So I like that better.
That's correct.
Yeah, that would be a better, supported. And also Selectman Novicki also made statement at that time.
Good.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Judy, second by Margaret. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next one, to consider and act on minutes of the January 26th special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Also was a virtual meeting. Is there any errors, omissions, or corrections with that one?
Motion to approve as submitted for the January 26th meeting.
Okay, motion made by Mitch, seconded by John Carangelo. No other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Item number 1 is to consider and act on the resolution with respect to the authorization, issuance, and sale of not exceeding $5 million of town general obligation refunding bonds. John is going to speak to this, but before he does, I have to say to people out there, we are not taking out $5 million in new bonds and pushing you towards the Race for Country Club bonds. These are bonds that we already have. He will explain it a little bit, that are being refunded for a better interest rate. It was a recommendation of the bond counsel and bond broker, and it is advantageous to the town. We are not taking out an additional 5 million bonds here. John, would you like to speak to this?
Sure. The S&P report that I alluded to earlier was done back in 2019, when was the last time we did what they call refunding bonds. At that time, I forget the amount, I think it was $3 million, and we saved $300,000 in interest over the life of the bonds. This one's a little bigger. The opportunity's there to do it now. They estimate we could save up to $400,000 in interest, depending on what the interest rate is when you recall the bonds, I guess, and you issue new ones for the same length of time. So it's very simple. We're going to save a lot of money, a lot of interest costs down the road on these bonds by doing this.
So this is a resolution with respect to authorization, issuance, and sale not to exceed $5 million Town of Orange general obligation refunding bonds. Questions? Right. Questions for myself or John on this one? Hearing none, is there a motion to be made to approve this resolution? Ralph Oakenquist. Motion made by Ralph, seconded by John Carangelo. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. We are not taking out an additional 5 million, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you see this and get confused. Okay, the next one. Stuck here. The next one is to consider an act on request of Orange Little League to update the baseball field lighting. You have a large enclosure on that. The first page says JK Energy Solutions, LLC on the front of it. This is why Mike Visnick is on screen with us. He's the president, I believe president, of Orange Little League. And no, yes?
No, I was president over the last 3 years. I changed to facilities director this year.
Oh, you gave it up. So they have a request in here. So I don't know if any of you spent the time to read this, but it's a very interesting proposal. Who's going to present this, Mike or John?
Mike is going to do it.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, for everyone who doesn't know me, my name's Mike Visnick from Orange Little League. I want to start by thanking Mr. Cifarelli and Mr. Zioli and the board for allowing me to speak tonight. I've been involved in Orange Little League for 15 years now, and for the last 3 years, I was president. This year, I decided to take on facilities director because I'm looking to upgrade the facility. I'd like to get the facility back up to where it was when I originally came in 15 years ago. There's a lot of work to be done, and I'm dedicated to doing it. And to be honest with you, I didn't think that lighting was going to be a possibility. I've looked into it while I was president. The prices were astronomical. I revisited it about 8 months ago and received a quote for $325,000. And that's when I said, it's definitely not going to happen. But the problem is a lot of those lights have been up there for probably some of them 15, 20 years. And over the years, the lights degrade. And not only that, but the lenses get filmed over so that the light can't even get through the lens to get down to the field. So they're getting worse as it goes on. I looked into rebulbing the facility when I received that price at $325,000, and I received prices between $15,000 and $20,000 just to rebulb and clean the lenses. And I'm not a fan of throwing good money after bad. And so what I did was I reached out to a friend of mine at JK Energy, and this is what they do. They go after the incentives through the utilities to pay for projects similar to this. And when I first approached him, he said, Mike, he said, to be honest with you, this isn't normally what they would do. He said, it's a 3-month usage. And he said, typically they won't do anything. I asked him, I said, please, I said, just give it a shot for me, please. And he came back and he said, you know what? He said, UI right now has a lot of incentive money that they haven't given out, and they need to give it out. And he said the timing may have been perfect. And then he came back with this proposal, and I almost fell on the floor. I couldn't believe it. For them to be willing to give us 80% of a project that's, in my mind, the price itself was significantly discounted from the pricing I had received in the past. Like I said, I received a proposal for $325,000. This one's $254,800. And when I saw that they were willing to contribute $203,840 towards the project, I knew I had to do something to get the ball rolling and get this to happen. The one thing that's not on our side is time. If you look at the proposal, it only gives us 30 business days to make a decision on it. So we're kind of crunched on time here. What I did was I reached out to some of the organizations. I reached out, obviously, to Little League and to the high school and to the Grind, who uses the facility as well. And I'm confident in saying that, at a minimum, I think we can come up with at least $15,000 towards the project. And that's at a minimum. And at that, what it does is it would bring the monthly payment down to under $1,000 a month, because we were put into a special program, being a small business, and it's financed 0% for 36 months. So I guess I'm hoping that somehow we can make this project happen.
So the total that I'm looking at, Mike, that's the space between the total cost and the incentive, is $50,960.
Yes.
Okay. And you're reaching out to the Grind, and they do rent from us. They use that facility a lot after the season is kind of winds down. The Grind is there quite a bit. And Amity uses it quite a bit also.
Correct.
And Orange Little League, obviously.
Yes.
So I think we need to, if we can get you guys up to somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 between those three possibles, there might be, maybe there might be another benefactor out there that might be watching this tonight or something, may come up with some money towards it. I mean, I have one good friend here in town who was always involved in the ball field programs and all, both when he was a youth and his son. I'm hoping that maybe if he sees this, he might be interested. I can always give him a call if that's a possibility. And there are some others out there that may feel so inclined to help with this. And then the town would pick up the remainder. So at this point, you need the town to agree to the $50,960 number, which is $1,000, 11-year payback on this, I believe. I think I read that in here somewhere.
No, I think it's a 3-year, Jim.
Yeah, I think it's around 3.8 years.
No, I mean the payback on consumption, the old system versus the new, I thought. It's on the front page at the bottom there. Last thing in that column.
Yeah, that was before the additional money from UI, though.
Oh, okay.
I think you got to go to the second page, and the payback is 3.8
right.
years.
3.8 years. You're correct. I see it there. I stand corrected. Okay. So thoughts of the selectmen on this?
Jim?
Mitchell?
Yeah, when the lights were originally put up on the first fields, or I think, if I'm not mistaken, that some of the money that was used for that may have come from cell tower money. And I'm wondering whether we have any, we've used cell tower money for town improvements, and I was wondering if some of this might, or all of it, I don't know what the kitty is right now, from the cell tower money that we have, because I think would be an appropriate use if possible. But certainly, based on everything that Mike has explained and the payback for this and how much that we're seeing incentive from UI, I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And I thank Mike and everybody else involved in this, and even bringing this proposal forward to perpetuate what has been, certainly wonderful fields and getting great usage in Orange, and certainly admired by many, many from not just inside Orange, but outside Orange. I'm very much aware of that.
I can't tell you what's in there right now. I know I've put a little in there in that one we call the community fund. I don't know how
Okay.
much is in there at this moment, but there is a little bit. Not a lot.
So then I guess the follow-up to that would be then, if we were to approve this, where would that money be coming from? Because it's obviously not budgeted.
That would
I'd probably find money, Mitch, from either line items that we have savings in or old encumbrances.
Okay.
I'm not too concerned about it. At $1,400 a month for 36 months, it's not going to be too hard to come up with that.
Okay, so the 50,000 isn't something, we don't have to put 50,000 up front. We're going to pay a monthly.
Right, it's over 36 months.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Correct,
so
Mike.
Go ahead, John.
I was just, oh, sorry, wrong John.
Go ahead, John.
Sorry.
John Carangelo.
Thank you. I was just going to say that, I like the proposal. I like the ability that UI is contributing here the way that they're doing. I agree with Selectman Goldblatt. I think we should seize the opportunity to do this. And it obviously benefits the fields and the kids that play on those fields. If anybody's been up there, the lights are old and do need some TLC, and having this would make the facility that much better. So I'm in support of it. And unless other people want to be heard, I'd make a motion to accept the proposal as been presented, and ask the selectmen to second me.
Okay, so we got second by Ralph, second by Margaret, second by Mitch, second by Judy. Everybody's on it. Any questions? Other questions?
So
No.
I want to just clarify what the motion is, because it says to consider an act on the request from Orange Little League to update. So we just saying, yes, we want you to go update it, and we're not talking about money?
No, I think you have to put in the motion that the town will pay $50,960 less any amount that is donated to the town for the project.
So moved.
Second.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's the part that I was going to say again. Up to $50,960, not to exceed, I guess, is what I should say. And that's still pending any monies that are put in by Orange Little League or Babe Ruth or what's that other league? The older guys.
Legion.
Legion, thank you. Or Amity or the Grind.
Or any other benefactors.
Or any of those. Yeah, it's a total number of 5960, but then less any monies that are found to help defray that number. So with that said, motion made. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Staying unanimous. Mr. Visnick, you're all set.
Thank you very much, everybody. I
Good
really
job.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Good.
Good luck,
All right.
Mike.
Good to see you, Mike. Be well.
Now you can get on the phone and report to your board members.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Have a good night.
You also.
All right, item number 3 is to reconsider and act on the request to approve tax refunds totaling $1,924.52. I don't think, no, any of us are on there, and we aren't. So is there a motion to be made on that one?
So moved.
Motion by John, second by Margaret. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Committees, Pension Board, Selectman Goldblatt.
Thank you, Jim. The pension board will be meeting next Thursday, February 18th, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
As has been happening recently, we probably will be on OGAT. So if people want to watch that meeting, 7 o'clock Thursday, next Thursday, the 18th.
Very good.
What you doing?
Emergency Management, Margaret.
There we go. Okay. Unmute. Okay, the last meeting of the Emergency Management Subcommittee on COVID was on Friday, January 29th. We looked at how Orange did in January. We had 110 COVID cases in January, 75 of which came within the first 10 to 15 days of the month. The numbers were high in the 30 to 60 age range and low in the 75 plus group. Ages 0 to 10, there were 16 cases in the first week of January, but the numbers have slowed in that age group. And overall, cases are going down slowly from what they were in late December and early January, which is a good trend. We hope it will continue. The good news, of course, as Jim already mentioned, is the Orange Vaccine Clinic, which has been running for the past 3 weeks. The main focus so far has been to reach out to the senior members of our community and our medical first responders. And we would just like to thank everybody in town who's been involved. This has been really a big team effort with many town departments, CERT, and other volunteers helping out. And as Jim already mentioned, if there's anybody with medical certification that would like to volunteer, please let him know or OVNA know. The regular Thursday clinic is open to anyone in Connecticut now who meets the age requirements and registers by the state's portal, VAMS. And there are Wednesday clinics as well, which will be only for Orange residents. Second good news on that front is that persons who are 65 or above can now register to get the vaccine. And there are about 350,000 Connecticut residents between the age of 65 and 74. And the estimate is it will take about 4 weeks to vaccinate that age group. And you can register for vaccination on our Town of Orange website for our local health clinic, or you can register via VAMS, this Vaccine Administration Management System, or you can register at individual healthcare providers like Yale or Griffin, or via the Connecticut Department of Health registration vaccination hotline. And I think at some point we may have vaccines being administered at our local pharmacies. Walgreens, and CVS are offering the vaccine at just some locations, but not any of our locations. But that is going to probably be expanded at some point. So hopefully our Walgreens and CVS may do that. And Walmart, apparently in New Haven, is going to, you can get a vaccine at Walmart in New Haven. Last thing is, once again, I would just say that Orange's really hardworking Department of Public Health needs more help. It needs more funding. There are both immediate and long-term needs. This crisis with COVID is going to continue, and we will need public health measures till 70 to 80% of the population have immunity. So this is really a long-term project. It's not short term, we give everybody a shot and it's over. It won't be. So this is going to be, the vaccine will have to be administered yearly, like the regular flu vaccine. So we really need long-term support for the Department of Public Health. And that's it. Thank you.
Very good. Capital planning, Selectman Okenquist.
We completed our task the day after our last Board of Selectmen meeting. We've come up with a prioritized list, which is going to be forwarded to the chairman of Board of Finance within the next week, and hopefully we'll get some projects approved. That there's a large number of projects that need to be done, and we hope we get some capital money to do those in the next year.
Keep open. Okay. Bond construction oversight, I don't think there is anything at this time.
No
And-
report.
And personnel did not meet at this time, but we have a couple things upcoming there too. So with that said, does anybody have anything else that they would like to bring before this meeting? If not, is there a motion to adjourn at 7:56?
So moved.
Motion by Ralph, second by John and Judy. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Thank you. Remember to be there on February 16th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at High Plains Community Center. Thank you. Have a good night.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right.
Does that include, like, if I'm in the same slot, BA plus 30?